on Twitter, there are people who are always like something is good.
Yeah.
But they're looking for something to bring it down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you did not consider women. But I only wrote there, this is analysis of men's underwear sizes. All those people who are trying to bring in. Because in your thought process, you already knew, like, okay, I don't understand women's market.
I know, it's just like useless commentary. Like, it's unnecessary, but they want to just make a comment.
5 has good vibes, but 9 to 5 with Ngari has better.
Hey, this feels like an exclusive interview. Joined with Mark Okinyo, and if you don't know who that is, he did an Ajab case study and has also done Aramis case study. It is beautiful. It is telling a beautiful story with our local Kenyan brands, and I'm very excited to have him on set. So, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Yeah. Who's Mark?
I think that's usually one of the most difficult questions for me to answer. Normally because I'm not an individual that's overly invested in themselves. So I think maybe to respond, I'll say I can tell you the things I value.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I believe in being a person of value to my friends, my family, and all my interactions. Being a person that adds more than they subtract. Okay. So whether it's in relation with work, whether it's in relation with the friendship, I always try to see if there's something that I can add on top of that. So that's on a personal side. I'm also currently a management consultant with a bias for product marketing and operations, which is what I'm currently doing. So that's on the business side. And I help startups and entrepreneurs lock in on their winning zone. So, in any business, there's a losing zone, there's a risk zone, and then there's a winning zone.
Yeah.
So I help them find what their winning zone is, whether it's in the marketing space, the product space, or the operation space. So that's me in a few words.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And we have Chris. What's new?
I'm now also a consultant.
Tell us. What do you consult about?
Problem solving.
Problem solving. Cool. So I have 2 consultants here who are solving problems. So it's going to be a great talk. So Mark, how did you, what's your background, education background? What did you study to get into product, marketing, operations?
Mm-hmm. I'm an alumnus of TUC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I graduated, I think it was in 2014.
Yep.
Yeah, so I have a background in technology. So that was my bachelor's. I was lucky to find employment before I graduated.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, my first employer was Rinkia Kenya. I used to work for Rupo and Pigiami back in the day. And that's how I sort of found myself into digital marketing. And then I think now over time, I've gone on to add other skills on top of the marketing bit. But I do believe, like Chris has said, is a problem solver. And I think that also comes from having a tech background where you
have to.
you're taught to find problems to solutions.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the reason why I believe I've done quite well in the marketing space.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we're both problem solvers. Yeah.
So you say you've done well in the marketing space. Tell us more about the doing well in the marketing space.
I think for me it's more around impact. And I look at impact in 2 ways. So the first part, at least I'd say the relationships that I've had, whether with the people that I've worked with or the people that I've been blessed to lead. I believe they would all have something positive. If you were to interview people who've at least interacted with me, I believe they would have something positive to say about me. And because of what I've talked about, kind of like the things that I value, being somebody that adds, yeah. So learning together, growing together, I believe that's something that has made me feel like I've done quite well professionally. But then there's also being able to hit targets, being able to understand customers, see how they make their decisions, come up with things to test, and then actually see the business impact that it's having. I think I've
You've done well for yourself.
My former employers, I believe they're happy. At least we go to know each other and work together. Yeah.
I want to get started with your Ajab analysis, because I remember I saw it was Ori or Kolo who had tweeted it fast, and then there's another guy who also writes a lot about business.
By then he was very jealous. He was like, "Have you seen what this? I'm so jealous. I wish I did that."
No, there are two things. One,
exposed,
no, there are two things. One, I think it's a publication. I think it's The Guardian, which every year they create what they call the jealousy list.
Okay.
Which were things developed or stories created by other media houses, which they wish it was them who developed. That's one. Second, I think for a very, very long time, I've been wanting to go online and read something inspiring, something profound, something other than 7 things that Vera Sidika did over the weekend. So then I was like, whoa.
Look at the arrow.
Whoa, hold on, look at this. And so I teach at Aga Khan University on data journalism and how to write stories using data. And then I took that, but I was like, guys, this is what we call doing a good story with data, because I think it's extremely, extremely lacking.
Yeah.
And there is thought laziness, if I might call it so.
Yeah.
So I remember, I think some of your comments, or even before you did, which one came first? Before you did the case study, others people like, the Kenyan thing, si akona pesa. It's money. So this guy is a billionaire.
Him.
No. The owner.
You get the of Ajab.
Manifest. Is it? People say manifest. Manifest. So, and then everyone's like, oh, it's because this guy is a billionaire. That's why. I'm like, that's too simplistic.
Yeah, it's very.
Yeah, and of course there is rich people hate, but I was like, Viusasa was owned by one of the richest people in Kenya.
It's a failure.
But it flopped.
Yeah.
And people don't appreciate strategy. They don't appreciate tactics. They don't appreciate the work that goes into, so they fall back to the laziness. So when I was reading it, I was like, finally, someone took their time and broke it down to like, okay, now if you are a tactician, someone who wants to implement something, if given a job, you'll find a lot of use for it. If you're just someone who wants to bash people and talk about toxic masculinity online, you won't find value in it. So the question that now this report I read and went back is something that's arguing, and want to get your first point of that. The question was, does marketing work? And the argument was, marketing never works. There's a group of people who believe marketing never works.
Interesting.
And there's a group that believes that by proper marketing, product placement, and considering who your target audience is, go-to-market strategies, all those fall into the marketing plan and leads to success. So do you believe marketing works?
Definitely, I believe marketing works, but only if you have a product that's solving a real problem for a specific set of people who are able to pay for it consistently. So this is like, I have this pain point, or this something that's I really need somebody else to solve for me. And if you have a product that actually can solve that, then marketing does is that it amplifies the message around the solution.
So do you think then without marketing, that product would still have been in use because it has value that people are willing to pay for? Would it still blow up minus marketing?
So it depends, because there's products that are made for the masses, then there's products that are made for a specific set of people. So if you are looking for scale, then it suddenly becomes
would Ajab have worked without marketing?
It would have still worked, but maybe it would have taken them a bit longer.
I agree.
Okay. Well, Elon Musk said he never spent a shilling on marketing Tesla.
Because he's Elon Musk. I mean, this guy is
but he's
burnt
leveraging
hair.
on his brand.
And he sold burnt hair.
No, before that, his argument was that if you build whatever money you would have spent on marketing, you should use it on product development so that you create a great product that if one person loves it, they'll be your your sales agent, then
Yeah.
tell somebody else, and you create this ripple effect that instead of coming up with flashy photos, put some.
But I don't know, sometimes I don't think that's what marketing is. Like when you're even talking about like people in, like, you know, the masses, like who are not really, they're on a Sia Kabambe. Like
Which is the
sometimes
last-
digital marketing is
which
not,
is the last ad that you loved?
like in terms of digital,
Just anything you saw online,
on a billboard.
on a billboard.
It's been a while. A lot of them are right now very distasteful, like to be honest.
So does it work? Or have you ever bought something from a marketing effect? The marketing was just too good.
I have.
You have?
What was that?
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time on AliExpress, being a techie. There was a time I was into home automation and retro gaming. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So for retro gaming, you know, like if you played like Mario,
Yeah.
like those things. So there's an emerging segment called emulation, where instead of having to go and buy like a Nintendo Switch, which will cost you probably upwards of around 30 Gs, you find software that can actually emulate those old games. Yeah. So, you know, originally now, as I'm starting kind of like to search up on retro gaming, you start encountering some thought leaders.
The algorithms.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So the algorithms, like they start doing that.
Suggesting.
And over time now, AliExpress notices that you are viewing more of this content. So eventually you start seeing products, seeing products. And that's how like I ended up shipping like a lot of things. Even for things like speakers, this kind of like Bluetooth speakers. Ideally the ones that are known, you'll find like maybe Sony, JBL and the likes. But I believe I was one of the first people in Kenya to to import Soundco speakers, yeah, which was a new brand emerging.
Yeah.
Same level of quality, sometimes even better sound fidelity, but because of the way they did their penetration.
Yeah.
So marketing, because marketing is all about community. And even like, for example, like what you're saying, if you find a product that is able to sell itself, why does it sell? It's because of that community effect.
Yeah, exactly. The
Because
network
somebody
effect.
will tell somebody else.
It's not about taking a scantily dressed woman and put them in front of a product and say, ta-da!
It depends on the product
Yeah.
and the customer.
But also just talking around marketing. I think I was having this conversation with someone over the week, like 2 days ago. It's like sometimes brands, like just in that brand, you already, it's in your mind. It's something psychological. Like now the GA ad that, you know, shit happens with the toilet paper. Like, you know, that has always like stuck with me. And when I hear GA brand, I'm like, oh, they're those guys. So is it also that psychological effect that sometimes marketing can have on the people's decisioning?
Yes. So in my Ajab slide, I had a slide for the persona.
Yeah.
And there were 4 boxes that we highlighted. So there's the needs. So the need is you have a certain pain, and a product solves that for you. Yeah. So these are kind of like the specific features or the core features where if the product did not have these features, then I would definitely not consider. So there's that. Yeah. And then there's the motivations. So you as Wangari, there are certain things that drive you to make certain decisions.
Make a decision,
Yeah. So trying to understand what is it that makes people to make certain decisions, especially as relates to purchase decisions.
Yeah.
So if you're able to understand that, then you can already start thinking ahead. And then there's the aspiration. So an aspiration, like we're saying like we're discussing before we started this, we talked about retention.
Yeah.
So marketing is good because it will put the message out there.
Yeah.
People will see it and then they'll start engaging with their brand. Somebody might come and make a one-time purchase and they never purchase again. Or they might come and purchase and stick around. So for you to understand a person's or an individual's aspirations, you need to sometimes even see 2
their
years,
life
3
cycle
years,
and
like
how they're going to. Yeah.
How are they going to? And sometimes these ones, they might even not know that they have said aspirations. Yeah. So aspirations and then now the pain points. Because now this is what will make this person actually pay for it. And then also taking into consideration, is there anybody else who's currently solving this problem? And what are some dissatisfaction with the current solutions? So once you understand needs, pain points, motivations, and aspirations, then it becomes a matter of positioning and messaging.
Okay.
There's another psychological aspect. Because I've worked on some marketing.
So many, by the way. You're surprised you're telling me you don't recommender engines.
Automation and improving efficiencies. And there was this quadrant that we had, and say everyone falls in any of those 4 quadrants. So there's a first quadrant called do not disturb. These are actually customers. If you market to them, they don't buy to you. It's sort of like they like undercover products.
Yeah.
Then there is persuadables. These are the people who need to be persuaded to buy something. And then there is a sure thing, which is this person will buy this product,
And
whether you market them to not, like they're your customer. And then the fourth one was okay, I remember it. So the idea was that marketing only works on these persuadables. These are people who they need they need some wooing to buy the product. So like, don't disturb, sure thing, you're wasting your dollars on that. So it's, for example, take your whole customer base, figure a way of segmenting them into these 4 areas, and then the ones that you've identified, you can use some data analysis, machine learning, blah, blah, blah. And then identify this person that persuadable based on their behavior, and then the ones that you market to. Because if you figured out, after the needs and everything else done, there are people who will just never buy. There are people who, they'll see the value, they'll buy without, they don't look for anything else. But there are people who like, I like this car, but tell me more about it. Which country was it built in? Is it 0 emissions? And things like that. So, and the whole idea was marketing only works on that subcategory of
What category do you fall in? Do not disturb. Sounds like it.
I think it. No, so in product and design, there is form and functionality, right?
Yeah.
So functionality gives you what it does, and then form is how it looks, it tastes, it smells for that. I think I go a lot for functionality. So if I see something and it does what I want and I need, don't tell me anything else. Just tell me what it does, because I've already researched ABCD things, and then I'll like, okay, I'm looking for ABCD, I'll buy it, right? Then the form bit is where now you make things beautiful, you make them attractive, you make them palatable, you change colors, rainbow colors for that. So I think I'm more on the sure thing kind of person, but for products that I care about. When it comes to other areas that I don't know a lot, I rely on being persuaded. Like if I go find 3 types of diapers, I'll end up buying Pampers because it's the most.
It's the brand that you know.
It's the brand that I know. So if you come with another brand, tell me why I should
cost. Because I think that's
assumption if costs are the same.
Oh, assumption if. But if the costs were lower, you'd go.
Like if you go to wines and spirits that are usually in the supermarket, they usually have someone promoting some new.
You're always taking the Mkali ones, the Chrome vodka, Anyway, I'm joking.
Come on, I do expensive whiskey.
Okay.
So they usually have someone doing like a tasting thing, and they try to persuade you to buy it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a Jameson guy. And then at some point they end up convincing me to buy
something. Because
I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm just trying to get buzzed.
Yeah.
So I end up with the functionality bit of it.
Okay, interesting. I have a question on market. I guess we've talked about this before the show. Influencer marketing. And I know we also talked about Wowzy. What's your take on influencer marketing? Because I think Ajab used some influencer marketing as well.
Yeah. I can say it works if you have an influencer that has built a community around their product. So, for example, like in the case of Ajab, there's 2 ladies. So there's the Chapati Mistress on Twitter, and then there's I think it's Hannah the Baker.
Oh.
Yeah. So even before Ajab, like these are people who their audiences knows them because like they create content to do with food and whatnot. Yeah? So it made sense that if somebody who I follow and they create content around this specific area, recommends this product because I can see that they're cooking quality food, then I'd like to become that person because aspirations. You're also looking to be part of a certain community, be part of maybe the top 5% of people that can make soft layered chapatis. Awesome. So for an audience like that, I believe influencer marketing works. But then there's also in Kenya, like how we can,
Kenyan, they selling it one day. I don't know, jeans. The other day they're selling chrome. Yeah, the next day, it's just confusing. Yeah.
So I think influencer marketing in Kenya, we are still not
a long way
quite there. Because I think as long as you have followers, even the way sometimes you see how they market themselves, somebody will take a screenshot of their Twitter analytics background and say like, okay, I have this many views, I have this many mentions, let's talk business.
Wow.
So, so you'll find, even if you attract a customer because of them, retention is going to be
a challenge.
Yeah, but I also think even just selling through would be, conversion would also be a very big problem. Because I remember I was involved in a project where it was evaluating which influencer should be used for a particular campaign. And the metric was, if we give you X goods, how many of them would you sell through for them? A lot of them performed poorly. Because I also think, from your point, I think influencer works with a niche crowd. Because think of like the former Caleb Karuga, who does a lot of farming. He's now a farmer.
I know him,
So and now he's an influencer for Davis and Shatcliffe for irrigation pumps, so on and so forth. To him, when he wants to say something, you're like, okay, I'll listen to him. There's another guy called Jason who does bees and things like that. And I remember the other time when we were trying to define an influencer was somebody like Michael Jordan would influence people to buy the Jordan shoes. Tyson, so on and so forth, because they come from a background of having knowledge of doing something and you trust them. But now then we have the influencer who
have no knowledge.
Content creators.
Exactly.
This is Kenya.
Then, like, okay, what's your skill? What do you sell? Like, I'm a content creator. Today I'm talking about houseflies. Tomorrow I'm talking about... And I'm like, to influence to me is to persuade somebody to take a certain action. Buy this product. And unless you're dealing with, if you're dealing with mass market products, radio, TV, billboards, I think are okay. When it comes to influencer marketing, it's because there is this niche group of people who always want more information, they want more details, and you need somebody who has been in that area to break it down for them very well, and then make that. So you can have somebody who has 10,000 followers, but those are loyal followers. They'll buy, they'll engage, and then you have someone who has 1 million followers, who they go and drop a link there, that's it, no one checks that link, on to the next one for that. So I agree with you that I don't think influencer marketing works
in Kenya.
in Kenya. And actually, if influencer is a career, is a career name, now we have content. Are you a content creator?
No.
But you're creating content.
I'm producing. I wouldn't really say, but that's not, as you said, I have an expertise.
Okay.
Yeah, so at the core of it, I know what my expertise is, which is product, and then even just workplace. But I'm not selling anything.
Yet. I like the Aramis.
Yeah, but wait, we haven't finished with Ajab.
Okay, Ajab.
I wanted to ask you, how long did it, because it looked like it was a lot of work. And I respect how much time it would take to do the research, put it together. How long did that whole process take? And even if you can talk to us through your creative process, how you come up with an idea, create the content, share, outcomes, do people pay you?
Okay. Yeah. I think before we get to the Ajab, maybe I'll start with how I started.
Yeah.
So I've also been in consultancy officially for about 2 months now.
Like Chris.
Yeah, just like Chris as well. And my first product was a business masterclass. And the business masterclass, we were discussing operations, product, and go-to-market.
So you created a business masterclass?
Course. Yeah, I created a course.
I love it.
It was a live course. And and I just want to kind of like test because, you know, you have these skills and you don't know, you need money.
How to translate it into money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I first needed to, when you're coming up with an, when you're coming up with a product, there's usually that MVP stage, minimum viable product, where you believe that you have a sense of what you can sell and you want to test it to the market to validate whether people could actually pay for it. Yeah. So that's what I did with the course. So I put the course out there. My target was to get at least 5 paying people.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was just like, that was my target.
How much was the course?
It was $50, so around 5,800 thereabout.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was a 3-week class, so I think...
commitment, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a level of commitment as well. So I put it out there. I was lucky I was able to get the 5 paying students.
Chris is jealous. I just say, oh my God, I wish I could. Don't punch me. Next time.
Masterclass coming up.
We'll sign up. Yeah, so from the 5 people that I got, I was able to see the different kind of people who are actually interested in my skills and the content that I'm going to push out. Yeah, if I was to come up with a product, then these are the kind of people that I would reach out to. So I had product marketing professionals, and I also had entrepreneurs in the class. It was a bit interesting also to see in terms of like the paying behaviors. So for example, for the product marketing professionals, you'll find that there are people who are currently in a job. They want to upscale and improve on their skills. But also, you know that most companies nowadays, they have a learning and development budget.
Yeah.
So the company essentially is the one that's
paying for them. Yeah.
And then on this other side, you have entrepreneurs. They want to grow their businesses. They want to also learn how to position themselves, how to market themselves. But for them, they are paying with their own money. So, you know,
they expected.
Exactly. So, you know, as part of business strategy, you start thinking around, okay, so I need to rework this product, and who is the person that I'm going to get to at least start coming to me? Because essentially when you're a consultant, most of the communications, you find that it's more of like outbound. You send proposals, you do this and that, you do this and that. Sometimes clients come back and it's a lot of work. So for me, I was trying to see how can I have the people
come to you instead. Very smart.
Exactly, come to me. So understanding the business persona and the challenges they had, then that's how the idea came up.
Because also, so you have a course targeted especially to entrepreneurs.
Exactly.
So, that's very nice. Yeah, smart. Yeah.
So I saw that might be a good way for me to reintroduce myself and the skills that I have. Yeah. And so now I was just trying to see what is a good topic for me to actually start covering. And then I was on Twitter. I saw Ruben and Ori's questions on Ajab, and then I saw it had some quite good engagement around, you know, on Twitter. If you get anywhere from 20 likes and above, and maybe 5 or 10 retweets, then you've done you've done quite well.
Yeah.
So I saw, okay, this might be a topic that people are interested in. Yeah. So once I made the decision that I was going to cover that, I took probably a day to visualize it in my head.
Wow, a whole day?
Yeah.
What were you doing? Just sitting?
Not consistently, like just thinking about Ajab.
Dreaming about it.
Yeah, no. So usually I'll make a decision like I need to do this,
yeah.
And then I'll pull out my phone. I have Google Keep.
Yeah.
That's where I usually take my notes. So I'll say maybe I'll come up with a title. The story of Ajab. So maybe that will be like kind of like the first. And then I'll try to see now storytelling, what you're talking about. Like, how do you lead somebody on until they get to the call to action that you want for them to take? So just planning that out. I'm usually more creative in the morning, so I'll kind of like sleep on it. Then when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I'll do is I'll reach for my phone. Ideas just start coming.
Through.
Yeah. So a day to come up with the idea.
Do you usually, sorry to interrupt, but do you usually go like for a run, or do you have like things that stimulate that phase, your creativity?
Like drinking alcohol.
Smoking marijuana. You don't have to answer. Leave him. But is there like something that's...
Music is a good release for me.
Music. Okay.
I also go for biking. So I'm a biker. Not so...
A bicycle.
Yes, bicycle. Yeah,
See?
but I think it was in Jan. I had a very bad accident.
Oh, no.
I was out of commission for a while. I've actually not ridden since then.
Yeah.
Like I was still healing.
But you guys are brave to ride on these Kenyan roads, is what I always tell.
Adrenaline, chasing adrenaline.
It helps, and then that fatigue also. Like you sweat it out. By the time you get back to the house, your
once
head
you
is
get
very
pissed
clean.
off and you
Yeah.
find a hill, you leave the stress in the hill.
Good to know.
Yeah, so
Buy a bike.
So I think those help. But also I think during this phase, because I'm building something that is my own.
Yeah.
I think I've had like a lot of
That is so
energy.
nice.
There's been like a lot of energy. Yes, I'm physically tired,
But yeah.
like the mind is very active.
Yeah.
So I think that has also been helping me.
I mean, I
during
know I
this period.
definitely feel that even like putting like this YouTube channel together, it's just like I just never run out of ideas.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Like, beautiful.
Yeah.
Which is a great thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was it. And then to put everything together, the research and the presentation took me another maybe day and a half, 2 days. So everything was done in 3 days.
3 days.
Yeah.
Wow, that was like this guy spent like a month or two. Just like
Yeah.
But the thought process was beautiful.
yeah, the thought process is really good.
It's the kind of thing, if I was a CEO, that's the brief I would want to read.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Very true.
Yeah.
Because even like when I read it, I like take notes. Like, yeah, this would really help. Like, it's just, it's very, very.
I'd
very good.
never. Yeah. So funnily enough, okay, I don't do house shopping. So I was in the pantry. Then I ended up finding a Ajab flower.
You thought of him, right? You know, I told him I'll start buying a job because of you.
Yeah.
Like, literally.
And then I was like, no, this is so beautiful, because if I had bought it, I'd have been a biased person, right?
Yeah.
But then I was like, something must have worked for it to end
End
up
up in your pantry. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was the like what you're talking about, like the presentation, like they use like very beautiful
Chapos,
and
yeah.
colorful thing. Perhaps that was a selling factor to that. Perhaps it was the pricing and so on and so forth. Then I was like, if you look at the decision making that people have when they want to buy a product, and product managers, marketing people place on that, it works when you buy it without knowing.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I love that point of like the decision that were made about with the packaging, making soft chapatis, and it seems like all good decisions were made.
Yeah.
Okay, the ones we know about, the good decisions about, which is something when you go back to product development, and I've had the chance to work on so many products.
Yeah.
So there's one camp that says, just build something, throw it out there.
Yeah.
and see.
And see what, what.
And then there's a person like sit down and think through everything carefully.
Yeah.
Right? I'm on the camp of thinking about things carefully, but it takes
But don't
time.
take too long, I think.
but it takes
I
time.
think for you, like, honestly, I don't think, how long does your creative process take? Like, he says 3 days, yours,
Right.
honestly.
Very long.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I always want to cover all angles
Yeah.
of everything. I'm always looking for that loophole for something. It can be a bad thing, but it can also be a good thing.
Yeah.
But when you release something and then people start poking holes on it, then you're like,
Yeah, it's
Kenyans
really
on
is,
Twitter.
Kenyans on Twitter, yeah.
You're like, I'm here chasing views. I'm not doing like a proper work. So when you sit down and do something, and you lay out everything very well, like I think very well in the evening, at night, especially when everyone is asleep.
Yeah.
And then I like a notebook where now I can start sketching things, and then I leave it there. And then come back the next day in the morning and look at it. If it still looks awesome, then I notice something. It is like the Persians. You know what the Persians to do? When they had like a very nice idea, they say this idea has to be debated when people are drunk and sober. If the idea is good when you're drunk and good when you're sober, then it's a great idea.
Great idea.
Yeah, so I find that time and I sketch everything. Then in the morning you're like, I was just overzealous. And then you cancel it. But if the morning it still feels like there is meat here, then now apply more research, more thinking to it, refine it, bring other things to it. Most times when that happens, you produce something which is beautiful. It is nice. It's great. But then the other camp says it wastes a lot of time.
Yeah.
It's like let's throw it. It's like you have a farm and let's throw the seeds out there. let's see
Let's see
whatever
what comes up,
What
yeah.
comes out. And that's like, I'll plan where each seed would
Yeah,
go.
that's you.
I feel like from the report I read, Ajab went the other way. Like they had to plan out all those things, and I feel like you get the product market fit along the way while you're planning. If you have a lot of dollars to burn, then you can throw something out. But when you want to figure out, does this work? Will this support? Who is buying it? Is it women? Who's driving the adoption of this product? So on and so forth. I think you need that calculated risk. Which side do you sit in?
I'm kind of thinking in between, but I think I'm more leaning towards like his.
Do you throw the seeds or do you plan out things?
I throw and also plan, but I try not to spend too much time planning. I'd rather execute and do, and then watch what was the reaction. Let me come back, iterate on that. So I'm a very decisive person. It's like yes, no, yes, go. I will die on this hill if I have to, but literally that is.
Which one is superior?
Hey, both work, I think. So you're making him the judge here? Anyway.
I think
We three will vote.
depends on resources that you
Yes.
have.
Yeah.
Because I think, like you said, if you have many resources, then you can find answers quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're limited on resources, then maybe you need to be a bit more methodical.
Yeah.
But I think as long as the goal is to understand the customer and also understand how you're going to create value for them,
Yeah.
then it doesn't really matter like which option you choose. I think the biggest challenge that most businesses have, or when other people are creating new products, they always go for, I think, 3 words. It's better, it's cheaper, maybe it's faster.
Yeah.
The problem with if you go for those 3, then that means somebody else who's
Can
much
come
more
be-
focused on the customer
Yeah.
can come and do it better, cheaper, and faster, but they know the actual value
The
that
value
they're
of the
creating for the
Yeah,
customer.
I love that. I was reading, I think it was a month or 2 ago when KQ was releasing their full year results. And then the new CEO, Alan Kilavuka, he was like, oh, we're going to be customer-centric. We're going to focus on this. And then this former journalist, it was on LinkedIn, made a very interesting comment similar to that. He's like, this is just those empty platitudes
Yeah.
spewed out by CEO.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
And then he said like this, he quoted some book and he said like, this guy said, if you want to know that your strategy is shit, yeah, take that strategy and reverse it. If it sounds stupid, then no. So if you say we're going to give good customer experience, the reverse is we're going to give bad customer experience. So if you reverse your strategy or hook,
That's
and
cool.
it sounds
That
bad.
is my test from now. I didn't know that.
So if you say you're going to offer better services,
Yeah.
the opposite, we're going to also offer worse services.
Yeah.
So like those words that just reminded me that line that if you go for those common
Yeah.
empty words, they don't really count, which is like a very good CX exercise or product exercise. Like I remember there's this thing, I can't remember where I saw it, where they'll take a group of people, like a focus group, and they'll have products. For example, they take this lamp and ask, when you see this lamp, what's the first word that comes to mind? And then you write it down. Then it tells you the words that it sticks with people too, and those are the words you use for your product marketing. Like someone tells you Pepsi, what comes to your mind? Coca-Cola. Someone says Tesla. Someone says the product.
Already see all this.
Those adjectives that
Yeah.
come with that, those are what you're supposed to use. But if you are the marketing team, like the car runs faster than a horse, so you should buy it.
Yeah. But I always say marketing it looks simple, but it's not simple. So I always like respect to marketers. I think that's most of the time when they look very stressed and.
But I think
Outside.
the version of marketing that we mostly do in Kenya is the simplistic, basic one, which is blast people on SMS, put it on Facebook, put it on
Put
Twitter.
billboards.
Yeah, and you've not done the work to look at who's your audience,
Yeah.
how do they consume things, and HBR has a lot of articles they do where they dive down like how, for example, there was one which that was not HBR. It was Ori has this Sunday thing. It's a very nice. Subscribe to her Substack, like top articles. And there's one how ketchup became like the top tomato sauce product. It's so interesting. is because they realized they had a quality product, and they wanted people to understand the quality, that this is really like the best because they've done it. And then some crazy marketing guy decided, like, what brand people connect with a lot? It's a Rolls Royce. That was like that is like 20 years ago in the 80s. So they did an ad where this guy is driving in a country, like a European beautiful countryside, like a CEO or someone very important, and then he drives his car and then parks somewhere in the middle of nowhere and then opens up and then takes off like ketchup and then puts on his fries and then stops and then eats and then drives away. And then he created this thing like, if this guy in the Rolls Royce is using ketchup, this ketchup must be very good. So that ad is like blew up ketchup and become everything else. So you see that level of craziness of marketing.
Yeah.
Of course, it could be also that marketing budgets have been slashed a lot, but that creative thinking, I think, is not there. I have not seen it for a while, and also that really understanding.
I was just the customer.
Who's a customer, and I love. I think I attended some product thing, some company I was working, and I love this guy presented this faces of your audience. So they're the early adopters. So it's like a bell curve.
Yeah.
So you have your early adopters, and then you have your main audience, I think, and then you have your laggards. And mostly for tech products. And you know how tech products used to have the invitation thing?
Yeah.
So it's like your early
List.
adopters were your most important people because they create that network effect of pushing it to other people. And then you have these people who only buy it because these early adopters used it. And then now they're the laggards who now like they're catching up with TikTok. They're catching up with everything else. So curating that early adopters audience was very, very key. It was very instrumental in Twitter, launching of Twitter. And I think Ajab was also a very good use case for that. So this is like a collab between product and marketing. I think nowadays it's a career called product marketing.
Product manager marketing, which
product marketing.
Product marketing manager.
Yeah.
But then there's also a concept that's starting to gain popularity, especially in the SAS field, called product-led growth.
Yes.
Yeah.
But product-led growth is, I don't know.
It's like growth marketing?
No. Using your product for growth of the business.
But you improve the product.
The thing you're saying.
Yeah.
Where the product can sell itself.
Yeah, the product sells itself.
Okay, we build it. And that's great. So you figure out what compelling features do I need in my product so that people can buy. And that's great because you're putting more energy in making the product better. Other than...
But I think it's also I don't know any... especially in Kenya, any startups that, like, remember we even talked about it, they're either enabled, they're product enabled, technology enabled. The product is not the first thing. It's like either operationally very heavy.
But if you look at even operational businesses, in their product is delivery, for example. That's what we're selling. So if I receive my goods in time and I always receive them in good condition, it's a service, but that's what gets registered as a product. So I'll judge how good it is by those parameters, unlike maybe a physical good or you're selling something else.
A good example of that is my Dawa. Their brand promise is you'll get it within 4 hours.
4 hours,
And I think there've been other competitors. Good Life have tried to also enter into the space, but I believe pretty much my Dawa has that market on lock. Because if it's going to be discreet, you're going to get it within the 4 hours, and they ensure that
quality as well.
Yeah, quality, the packaging and everything.
Yeah.
Hours. So I think for them, the service, like, they deliver on that promise.
So this product marketing thing is likely to phase out marketing.
No, but I think I was saying, like, I don't know what are skill sets, because I would never say I'm a product marketing person. Like, I know nothing about marketing. I know about product management.
Learn.
Exactly, I can learn. But I think those are very two different. Like there's.
But in companies that are product driven, you'll need more of a product marketing. A product marketing person will be useful than a marketing guy. A marketing person would just be on Twitter, blasting information. But the product guy will figure out, if I do this post on Twitter, how will it affect this? Who am I attracting?
Yeah.
Who do I want to be my first adopters? Who do I want to push this product? The same way the example of ketchup, it was a rich guy. So if someone sees, I don't know, we launched some fur coat that we're making from dog fur, then we use it, put it on diamond, then people start buying it. So the product marketing guy starts thinking about those connections between the product and the marketing. Well, the marketing guy feels like, I just need to get this information out.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe they might.
I think he's starting to bridge that, but I know very many product people would have a challenge with the marketing side of it, like traditional product.
Yeah, so all careers, even
growing
data science started from statisticians combining computer science and business to build this new thing. So over time, there will be people who will be crossing over, interbreeding those skills and coming up with this.
Did you have any other thoughts on this?
I think what Chris is saying, having good product sense is all about insights. Being able to get insight. And what is now different between having product sense and maybe a project manager and maybe somebody working in the marketing is they're mostly focused on the output, which is maybe get 10,000 likes, maybe get this number of reach, close this number of sales. And it's also a consequence of how business has been done in the past, where executives will sit in the boardroom, they'll say this year maybe we want to grow by 2x. And by growing by 2x, this means for this quarter, these are the number of sales you're looking at. So, marketing, you go get us the numbers.
I think the single metric that any business should look at is retention.
Yeah, exactly.
Retention tells you so
it's
much.
The only one,
that's
because you can attract 1 million people and lose them the next day.
Yes,
exactly.
All of them, and sometimes you can even stagger your growth because you want to onboard a certain type of people first before bringing in everyone else. But business operate on a quarter by quarter basis, and another reason that causes that is because these metrics are also owned by different departments.
Yeah.
If I'm on sales, I don't care whether I onboarded a shitty customer.
Yeah, I made my my numbers.
It's like in banking where you're told you have to open 10 bank accounts.
Yep.
You go open for your brothers, your sisters, and everybody else, and they'll never transact. But you've met your
quota,
your quota for that, and then retaining those people sits in another department, perhaps marketing or something else. So because there's no unified view, and sometimes companies bring in like a VP of something to unify this. Different KPIs, VP of growth and
commercialization
and things like that. And some companies manage to do that, but vast majority don't manage to unify them. Then I only care about my KPIs. So if I'm a product guy and a marketing guy, we should be working together to harness.
But I think like when you're writing even like KPIs, you should have like what you talked about, like number of accounts opened. Are they active? Have they transacted X amount in the X number of days? And that's
so if you tell the sales guy that from the data insight shows that if you onboard someone who's 25 years and above, that account is likely to be active than onboarding an 18-year-old. So can you try and onboard more 25 years old? And he has maybe he's 40 or he's younger, and he doesn't have that hook to attract those people. He'll just go get another age demographic. Or if he has to get, let's say, 100 of such people, and his or her reach cannot get 100 of such people, then they fail on the on the KPI, which is sometimes how business gets everything wrong. Okay,
cool. Just back on your creative process, I think we touched a bit around overthinking. Is there a moment you're like, you overthought it, was afraid to put it out, like, oh, what will people poke holes at this case study?
I think management taught me a lot of things, because usually when you go into whether it's a board meeting or whether it's a meeting where other managers are in the call, their questions that usually come up. So I learned quite early on to anticipate those questions and then try to answer them beforehand. So I try to add that as part of my creative process. And then I think as relates to overthinking, we've talked about minimum viable product, yeah?
Yeah.
So I'll work on the core thing and then get it to a point where I feel like it's ready. Like in its current state, it's ready. But I always try to see, is there any other way that I can improve it? The moment at which I start feeling like I'm dilly-dallying, like, yes, I'm making improvements, but maybe I'm not moving as fast as I was when I initially started, then I know that's kind of like the right time.
Diminishing marginal returns.
Exactly.
But there's a saying that in most cases, especially in business, overthinking is better than underthinking. No one has ever, majority of people don't get fired for underthinking. I know for overthinking. They get fired for
underthinking.
Like you're underperforming. Let's say you come and you present more than what you're supposed to present. You added information that was not required in that report. You're less likely to be fired. But if you came in and just did the bare minimal. So I get, and I agree with your process. Sometimes you feel like you've thought through everything else. You'd like to add you like to add so many things. Then you feel like maybe I should stop.
Stop now.
You should
Put it out there.
Put it out there and see how it goes. There is also saying my boss at IHAB was like, don't let better get in the way of good. So if it's good enough, don't try and make it better.
80% is,
Just ship it out. But I think good means that you've done some very good base work, and it's something that can be palatable. And as you said, I think they love it. And if you look at managers from different departments, everyone has what they care about. Are you sure you have a dose for
everybody?
for everybody, and everyone goes home happy. Other than trying to look smart by doing 1,000 graphs.
It's true.
Complications and all that kind of
And I think to something else that you also mentioned around, there's that kafia that you have before you actually put something out. I think for me, what I do tell myself is I believe in my skills.
Yes.
And if it's anything that I know I've done the research on, if you question me, you're probably going to embarrass yourself. Because you don't know this better than I do.
Then you who's done the research.
But if it is new information that you're sharing, then I also like to acknowledge that you can't know everything. I might be good in my field, like right now, but I know that there are many other people who are much better than me, way more experience. So just being able to acknowledge that you will never know everything.
It's a learning process.
And there's always somebody who's better than you. Just at least for the space in which you are in, if you believe you've done your part, then
on Twitter there are people who are always like something is good. But they're looking for something to bring it down.
Exactly.
But you did not consider women. But I only wrote there, this is analysis of men's underwear sizes. All those people who are trying to bring in. Because in your thought process, you already knew, like, okay, I don't understand women's market.
It's just like useless commentary. Like, it's unnecessary, but they want to just make a comment.
Like, I have to comment something.
Yeah, you just have to.
I have to bring it down. So there's that category. The category people just say awesome, and they don't add any useful information. Then there are like one or two people who now dive and then tell you like, hey, here I think this was overreaching here because of ABCD. That's really useful feedback.
Exactly.
That you go like, okay.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because sometimes someone, I'd write something and then someone would put a feedback back, and then they're like, that's a blind spot in my thinking. Like I never think about, and it even improves what
for next time
you're doing. But if you do shallow work, which is 90% of what's out there, you've not thought about all the processes, then I think it brings in the imposter
syndrome. Man, no, that's not an imposter syndrome. Like, that is legit. You've not put in the work. Imposter syndrome.
But not putting the work is being an imposter.
Okay, but
like saying I'm a product marketing person.
You walked into that
one. But I think when he said syndrome and phenomenon, you start thinking like.
No, it's
you are being an imposter there. I agree with you.
Like, for example, I love design.
Yeah.
But I'm not a designer.
You're not a designer, That's the same I'm saying. I love I know I should know marketing, but I don't know anything about marketing. Yeah. And it's been...
So when someone tell me, shut up, this thing is not correct, I'm like, I don't know anything, but I try to learn as much as I can. Because I think it's useful interdisciplinary, but then I'm willing to listen to anyone apart from those people who are
trying to put your stuff down for no, I guess also importantly, did you, with the case study, the Ajab case study, did you manage to monetize? When I talk about monetization, it can be a couple of things. You got a gig, you got a client, you got good. I mean, I don't think clout is monetization, but
not directly, but what I can say is I had an end goal, which was after I'd identified the audience that I wanted, how do I now get these people to come to me?
Yeah.
So as a result,
they're coming to you.
I've talked to some very interesting people.
Ka-ching ching.
Potentially good things coming ahead. So it's interesting. Yeah.
This is. Remember when we were at. This is the last episode about content and how to monetize. And I was telling you the B2B is the thing to do. You put your content out there so you can be hired, not for views. Because he will never get 1 million views on the Ajab case study. He will get maybe like 30,000. But the people who will be viewing that are people who make decisions in business.
But I do think he has something around, like he can focus on like consumers. Like say, for example, for me, I would reach out to Mark if I want to learn marketing, product marketing. I'd love how he puts stuff, his creative process.
Let's create a pyramid.
I mean, I won't,
And the pyramid up here, let's say CEOs, directors, C-suite, people who make budgeting decisions, right? Then we have the middle part of the pyramid where like people trying to learn marketing, product,
but
so and so forth.
As well. I'm a CEO of things. And
I can see that.
You make decisions.
So put me up over there.
And then we have the base of the pyramid, which are the ordinary person, right? I think his content fits in between the first two bits.
Yeah.
Where the monetizing is either getting those CEOs to give him gigs or training this middle people.
Yeah.
But the ordinary person, I don't think any ordinary person wants to know how Ajab came to know. Like, the only thing I need to know is where's my chapati. Whether it was made by X, Ajab, doesn't really drive them. So
he has something to say to that.
For the ordinary person, maybe they want to get to the level of skills that I have.
Yes, exactly.
So, but it's more of like, you're very right. My core audience is the one that you've mentioned.
Top of the head.
For these others, it's kind of like just extra.
Yeah. And for the people who want to scale from the base of the pyramid, it's also a very tiny percentage. Of course, there are people who started from the bottom, now we're here. So the percentage is also limited. So if there is somebody who is an ordinary person, I don't think also ordinary means that you're poor. Ordinary just means that you're more, your day to day is I wanna wake up, I wanna go to work, I wanna come back, eat, sleep. But there's someone who really cares about cars, there's someone who cares about products, someone who cares about something else. And then now they go up to that pyramid. Then they perfect their skills, they get gigs, and then now they start scaling their career. And there is if you look at how people consume information. If I am a C-suite, I'm not a C-suite like you. So I wake up, I want to read The Economist, I want to read HBR, I want to read something that would help me in my career, help me make better decisions, right?
Yeah.
But someone at the bottom of the pyramid would wake up and the first thing is open Gafla. Or
but I think like those people opening Gafla and like you should be reaching out and reading his content. Because imagine coming in and then telling me things that you've read from his case study and we're in a meeting and you start talking about I'll be like,
not everyone. There's a reason why sex sells. And
not everyone is into that stuff.
But those are the few people. If you look at generally, sex sells across it's one universal language that people can talk to even if they don't understand each other. But once you start talking about something specific, you start narrowing down and when you get into details.
It's intellectual.
Yeah, you start narrowing down on that. And that's why you make decisions on your content. I want a CEO to read my content. Then after that, I can go close a deal on that. Similarly, the person on the bottom of the pyramid, every day they'll be writing 20 articles about sex, about scandal, about something else. And they'll get like 40,000, 50,000 views a day, and they'll monetize using ads. But you cannot monetize with the ads if your content, because maybe there are like how many CEOs in Kenya who matter, maybe 50 or 100. And those are the ones you want to reach, and that will be it. So I don't think that type of content can be monetized by the masses in like Google ads.
I mean, I agree with that. Cool. I think. Did you have anything else to?
Aramis.
Yay! Aramis. I love. I always have Aramis on my sets.
What do you do? What do you use it?
I use it for lip balm. And then
Okay.
when I was nursing, I used it also for like, when you're breastfeeding, you put it on your...
Is there other hidden uses?
These are those social commentators that you were talking about.
No. You see,
That's the account.
your product will be driven by things you don't know. And
Yeah, of course.
Like all these data centers in the world. Sorry, two stories that I find interesting. One was there's a Norwegian company that makes not tanks, some type of armor. I think rounds that go into not ballistic rounds. The howitzers.
What?
Howitzer is artillery.
Oh, okay.
So they're based in some rural area in Norway. Now they need electricity to run their production. Now there's a very huge data center there next to their company that's hosting cat videos for TikTok. So it's draining so much electricity that they can't manufacture.
That's ridiculous.
So the electricity consumption in this rural part of Sweden, in Norway, is driven by cat videos. Another thing is like 30% of internet traffic is porn.
Yeah.
Right? So all these cybersecurity companies and stuff, they're being put in business by porn companies. So similarly, Aramis could be driven by a very secretive group of people who cannot be defined because...
Do you have any thoughts, Sarah, as you did a very good case study on Aramis? Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, but I think I did leave intentionally.
You left it as...
Yeah.
your audience, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No,
But they exist.
But
But they exist. Do they make a large part of... And maybe we should name them. What are they?
Wangsters.
Allah! Allah! Allah!
That's a good one.
This is where our content goes.
That's a good one.
No, but aside from that, I think the fact that it has had this wide usage from personal care, hair care, skin care, I don't think is any other product that has that wide use.
You'd have to search.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that we have to search means almost it
Yeah,
doesn't
we can't.
it doesn't exist.
Maybe M-Pesa. I don't know. Credit, debit. I don't know. It's like
but
it's
M-Pesa
like
had an intentional build, but this was an unintentional
unintentional
use that some
Yeah.
people stumbled
across.
across it. But I think it's to me it's like a business school study.
No, for real.
Yeah.
People, as in, like, seriously, I hope all CEOs are reading that, like, especially the Arimis one. Just on even, like, the simplicity of it's very, it's simple. Look at it. Look at this. Like, seriously.
Before I never knew I never knew the story, but I knew partly I think sometime last year someone tweeted that you didn't know Aramis was meant for cows. That's why there's a cow there. And I was like, no, that must be a lie. Then I was too lazy.
You know that.
Yeah, but I was too lazy to go and find out whether it's true or not. But now reading the study,
Now you see him, he took action.
of course, the first part was too much for me, so I just jumped it. The history of milk in Kenya. I was like,
Me actually, it was nostalgic. Even the Nyayo milk. I was like, oh.
No, but I'm there for Aramis. I'm there for not for Nyayo milk. So I was like, pass. Get me to that meaty part of it, and how it started in Meru.
Yeah.
And then it was for cows, and then the dryness got solved. Blah blah blah. And there was a very particular point that I liked where he said, I think when it was crossing over to skincare product. Before that, I don't know whether it happened to you. Our mother used to use Kimbo. Like after when there was no, whatever, Vaseline.
Okay, no, I never used Kimbo, but...
Now we know. Yeah, but
Segmentation.
she'll go to you take a shower, get washed in the veranda, and then she'll take like a chemo, and then when you go outside, you're shining like
proper shining.
proper shining, and when the sun hits you, you sweat like
Is that why
hell.
you're so black?
I think so.
Moving on.
So it means that if you are very keen, our parents were already looking for alternatives to Vaseline before they landed to Aramis. That's why Kimbo was used a lot. Then I think Aramis became like, this thing it's better than Vaseline and as cheap as Kimbo.
Yep.
And Kimbo was versatile. And the same Kimbo that she scooped off to put it on this, what would be used for cooking in the evening. So I think no one really paid attention to the consumer behavior. And the point to say, like, people were already searching for alternatives. The other alternatives were niche products that also expensive.
Yeah.
For this, Kimbo is cheap, multiple use.
Yeah.
Aramis, I can use it on my cow. Why don't I use it on
yourself?
On myself.
On
Let me use it on my child. Let me use it on other things. I'm just surprised no one has not tried cooking with that.
Has anyone, when you were doing your research, has anyone tried?
I actually saw a Twitter feed. There was somebody had chapati there, and then there was Aramis on the side. So I don't know if they were trolling or I think they were trolling.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Perhaps So
But it must be food grade, because if you can apply it to your lips, maybe
the flavor is what might be different.
Yeah.
Because we used to cook chapatis with the cowboy. If you wanted the yellow chapatis,
Yummy. Those are the best.
What happened to cowboy?
It's still there.
Actually,
still there.
Yeah, Cowboy's
still there.
Yeah.
Wow.
But not that many, but you'll find it.
And that's why you need marketing, by the way.
Yeah. You need product market fit. It was a niche. Actually, I think everyone who knew cowboy knew it as a chapati.
Yeah. But I think what
wise.
happened with Cowboy is, I don't know, I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like there was this movement that it's not healthy. There was like cholesterol and all that stuff. So
could be.
yeah, but it's, I don't know.
So after doing like success stories, also fail stories are good. Why did Cowboy fail? Why did
I was actually just thinking about that. Yeah, failure stories are actually really good. Yeah. Are you planning to do failure stories?
If time and energy will allow,
Yeah.
that's definitely something I can consider, because it's all about learnings. Yeah, and you learn by looking at both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's the next one after Aramis?
Stop pressuring him. You're not even paying him. Have you?
I'm paying him by views. I retweet his stuff. Yeah. She'll find it. What's the other success story in Kenya?
Like a Kenyan.
They have suggestions.
I tend to know product that I use, and the products I tend to use are very niche. They're not.
Like what? Tell us. You think you're so special.
Of course I am.
Tell me what products.
Groundnut oil.
I like groundnut. I use groundnut oil.
I use macadamia.
No, so someone
Yeah,
said,
look at you.
how many Nigerian restaurants do we have? I feel like they're sprawling.
Yeah, that is true. I don't know.
I'm sure there must be some Nigerian restaurant somewhere here.
Yeah, I mean the closest. Yeah, there is one around.
Yes, Nigerian restaurants. Case study.
Nigerian restaurants case. You do that once. Even you can do a case study.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, there's one coming. It's hot.
Okay.
I'll drop it in the next episode. There's a hot case study coming about. So if you package this case studies well, example HBR, referencing because I read it a lot. They have a whole section called case studies, and it's a paid column. So they do like really in-depth, like maybe 2,000 to 3,000 words, where they look at either failures, successes, and anything else. So in that section, it's meant for business leaders. It's meant for people who make decisions in businesses. And you go read there, and for example, ExxonMobil, like what happened, how they went down, Apple success of Apple Watch, and they do like really detailed. So I like your version is presented for the mass market to make it an easy read. Yeah. But it's something I've also thought about doing. Although now you significantly reduce your audience once you do.
Yeah.
You do that. But like in Kenya, we don't have. I was thinking.
You guys can be the first. I know what you're even going to say. Go. You can't be the first. Like, to be honest, are you ever thinking of money? Like, you think your next case study, get people to buy it. Give them 2 pages. You know, those pay ones. Sasa lipa.
But to me, I think that's
buy it, honestly.
But
You
a
have
few
one
people
person.
will buy it.
Yeah.
But I think from his strategy, and I think even my strategy would be writing just enough to attract the attention of this, not going to that really, okay, to you know the answer, but now putting it in like a very good write-up that can be put in a publication like a business school publication or a white paper somewhere. That's extra work. And what will you get out of that? Just your name that you published in this, and then someone pays you $20 or $30 for it. So I think it's okay. But when I feel like I have time to do in-depth, I go to HBR and find like this really detailed case studies, and you're like, beautiful. Like, beautiful. Nothing more to add.
I know. That's what I say when I read. I'm like, this is just amazing. Cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want us to talk about around your brand? Because I do think you have a brand now. You told me you're an introvert. You don't want to do videos.
I was struggling because in my first masterclass, I think I have like 28 hours of footage.
Yeah.
I haven't even watched them.
Oh, because you can't stand to...
It's
watch yourself.
It's an real issue.
Yeah, it's that, and then I think it's like I'm intentionally like deprioritizing it without even like knowing, because
you need hype master to hype you.
Or you need to outsource that to someone to do for you, so that you can focus on what you enjoy doing, which is delivering the masterclass. We know a few people.
All right, I think it's all about making sound business decisions.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think first I just need to lock down a proper monetization model.
Yeah.
And I think I'm still in that phase where I'm trying to
Figuring
see
it
like
self-doubt, calculations.
Not even self-doubt now, because currently I think I'm much more confident.
Yeah.
I think it's more.
And you got
around-
that confidence from putting your stuff out there and seeing people like react like, whoa, this is really good. Yeah.
But I also think great work gives you confidence.
Yeah.
Like if you can point and say, like, I did that, and people are proud about it, and you're also proud about it, then
that is true.
But the whole world of business is built by business models. It's one of the hardest things that most people tend to underestimate. It's the fact that you have something great doesn't mean it will sell. It may not sell, not because it's not great, but how it's supposed to be monetized was not the correct model. And I think people go to business schools
to learn that.
to figure out to figure out like, okay, like in the US, once you have something great, then someone comes in, I know how to monetize this. Either I'll pay you, I'll bring somebody else, or I'll use a subscription model, or I'll use blah 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 blah. And they have 100 years of studies to show why this would work and not. And it's a field I've never really met someone who's specialized in business models. Or who really understands it. Everyone is with a blanket. Like, can you set up a subscription? I'm like, subscriptions never work in Africa. They don't. If you've ever paid attention to any data and information, it's like one of the worst models you can ever deploy.
One of my clients is doing it successfully.
Subscription?
Yeah, let's drift.
Oh, yes, but I like what he's done because the price is pretty low.
Yeah.
Like, it's 1,000 bob, you can hike for a full month. I agree. He's very, very smart.
Yeah, but
then again, I think he's understood his customer segmentation is really good. Like, I struggle with like being told to figure out transport when I've just done like a 21-kilometer hike. I'd rather pay for comfort. But if it's like a small hike, I agree. He's mastered it really well.
Alex is a smart dude.
Have you gone with Let's Drift?
I know people who've gone it.
Yeah,
I tried doing it, but I just hate walking with the people I don't know. I want to make weird jokes, and they might report me, and so I prefer hiking with people who I know.
You might find yourself trending on Twitter.
Yeah, I find myself trending.
Weird guy.
All this
the video and everything.
all this woke folks.
I do think, like, what do you think has worked for Let's Drift? I think the price point and the value that
Actually, let's break it down.
No, that's one of my clients.
Oh, yeah.
I'll break it down from what I know. Not for you to reveal any numbers. So I went to look. It was like 1,000 bob, which gives you what I felt for my case, the 1,000 bob does not give me what I want. For my problems, there were two things. Number one was I can get a lot of money and it disappears tomorrow. So I want to prepay my hikes, right?
Yeah.
So there was no prepaying plan, and if I don't go for a hike, it stays in as like a some escrow account that I can utilize later on. That wasn't there. Then second, of course, I need transportation. That is like
that's for me. That's
key
another big one.
because
for me.
otherwise I'll always just hike within Nairobi,
Yeah.
where I can drive myself. Or
But they do provide
Yeah.
you put in
So
a matatu, but
I never felt the
Yeah.
1,000 bob is like for and then sometimes when you're going for certain parks,
You have to pay.
you still have to
advance,
pay again,
Yeah.
and I already paid the 1,000 bob.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel like I'm getting value for anything. Like what am I paying this for?
Yeah.
That's part of the reasons why I never.
and I also think they
subscribed.
started around the time of COVID, when hiking was now started becoming a thing, where you couldn't go anywhere apart from like going for a hike. So I think they like people were yearning for the outdoors and yearning to meet like
And then
me.
those people chant after COVID.
I mean, some people chant, but some people picked up actually love hiking.
Yeah.
Like this kind, and then there's like when you go for the Let's Drift hikes, like there's a community
Have you-
around
have
it.
you?
Also, I usually go if it's like within Nairobi.
Did you enjoy it?
I enjoy it, but as I said, my only downfall is like when they tell me when I want to go for a hike, I have to sort out my transportation. I want comfort. I like the soft life. I want to be driven there, be given food, like.
You like being pampered.
Yeah, especially when you've done such a hard thing as hiking, like, like Rurumeria. You're like, I don't want to think about this other thing. So I'd rather go with other services, like, what's this, bucket list,
Yeah,
who provide it. You pay more, but
and
you get more.
another
Yeah.
thing, I don't think it's a scalable business that can go to the masses.
But they're in the
it's-
masses, right?
I don't think so. The hiking and cycling,
I plead the fifth.
yes, hiking and cycling is a very niche.
But I guess it's privilege.
It's a very privileged thing. So
Yeah.
it stays with a very small group of people. And even think the model of how they've set it up, even if it were to go to the masses, it won't be a success. I think so.
So
Because
to go to the masses with hiking, how would Chris do it?
to me, I've never thought about it, but I would sell it as some exercise thing, like cut body fat thing, things that people can easily.
But then you're also going to people who, like, I don't
The
think the
idea is
masses
that
have issues with.
the idea is that can you
Yeah.
get someone who has never hiked to hike?
Yeah.
That is the biggest hook, because otherwise you're getting people who already hike. They're just looking for different hiking experiences
And meet people.
And in most of these people, they're in like 4 or 5 hiking
Yeah.
groups. They'll come and hike with you this time. It's not like you're the sole provider of,
Yeah, there are many.
hiking experience. If they're your sole provider, then you know you have an amazing
Yeah.
product.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Tell us.
We talked about needs and motivations. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the need is maybe just I like hiking. I
Yeah.
want to go to hiking, but finding out why they go for hiking.
Yeah, exactly.
You're able to build that into.
Some of them are looking
your
for
hikes.
boyfriends and girlfriends, and
Yeah.
it's a good place to meet
So
people.
that's where the
as well.
secret is.
Yeah, find that motivation.
This is the new Tinder. Then once you meet, you stop hiking. Or you make babies in the hills and
And that's where retention comes in now. So aspirations.
Babies are baby hikers.
Yeah. So aspirations. So you don't just look at one. I think very many companies struggle with retention, like you've mentioned.
Yeah.
it's because I think also if we might step into the generation, it's a generation of touch and go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not.
Instant gratification
Yeah.
type of, yeah.
I think there's someone who said, like, for most of us who have had our Safaricom lines for 10 years, it's very hard to convince us to take a Telecom Airtel line, even if they might have better packages, because there's that lock-in
Yeah.
effect. So I think maybe the middle generation, it could be something we know or we don't know, but maybe also there could be the generation is a touch and go generation. They don't, you can't lock them in. They always want their options open. Maybe for us, the phone works, the screen cracks 1,000 times, you still have the same goddamn phone. So there's also some exploration to be done for that.
Yeah.
And even for hiking, you can, because I have a friend who trains like an Olympian. And
Is he an Olympian?
he's not. He's just like, I want to get fit. That's
Oh.
it. Right? And then the people who hike because of, it's a Sunday afternoon,
Yeah.
it's boring. Let's get into this thing. And those are the people you're most likely to lose over time. So it's identify, have you locked in the people who you want to lock in? because you always have the in and outs, people who come in for one hike,
That's me.
disappear again. Again, and then there are people like, man,
Every
every last.
I
And
mean,
I think that's why like you were saying, business models are important.
Yeah.
Because yes, you might be solving a real problem, but you find like
What is
the
your-
audience is not big enough
And
like, for you.
something that I would want,
Mhm.
I would like, I'm good at doing this
Yeah.
or that. Can you tell me how? Give me the way to monetize this in the best way.
Yeah.
I haven't met somebody like that, because once you have something good,
Mm-hmm.
people like it. You're onto something. You just need that last
yeah. I know what you mean.
that's last push.
But all I say, I think just be consistent. It's a bit of consistency, a bit of luck sometimes.
Yeah, but that business model can.
Yeah.
You know, when startups get funded, especially in the US, they bring in those specialists
Yeah.
to like figure out how do we monetize this thing, and they sit for hours, even months,
Just trying to-
just going through this thing, and they can do focus group discussion, they can do tests, they can do several things, and then they figure out like, you know what, this thing you're selling it the wrong way. Just let everyone prepare their hikes the whole year. Whether they come or not, it's their money being wasted. Yeah, and they come in and they tell you like, this is how you charge. You know, I've looked at Spotify. I just downloaded. I was looking at their premium model. They have all these different variations that somehow you fall into one of them. They have a weekly one. They have a monthly one.
Oh,
they have
wow,
a monthly.
really? Maybe that's for Kenya,
That's
yeah.
pricing strategy.
Yeah.
Yes, and pricing strategy goes into the business model
Yeah.
for that. And I was like, I'll never pay for such things. But actually, I ended up paying for that weekly one. Is like 40 bob.
God damn it, what?
And then I was like,
to a Safaricom.
and
Bamba
then
40,
there was like, what would people
how
pay
much
for?
was the monthly one?
So
There's one for 200. There's a 200.
Why? So
bob
why
one.
would you go for 40 anyway?
You know, because we are this, what we call it, Kadogo economy, right? And there's a week I need Spotify. There's another week I am
so you're
not.
not a consistent. Yeah.
I'm not a consistent. So they realize there's someone like me who there's a 1 week I'm in the house working, and that pricing strategy fits into the business.
You want to impress somebody. Yeah?
Okay, gosh, I think this has been such a long. Mark, is there anything else you wanted to?
No, I think I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah.
To learn from different people, meet different people, as I continue to grow my brand and my business. So I'm just here for the journey, and
Awesome.
I like that it's giving me a chance to also meet people like yourself and Chris. So
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. I do also have classes.
Yes.
So if you want to learn, if you're an entrepreneur, or if you are even a consultant yourself, you want to learn things on how to, we discuss things like business models, marketing, product development, all those other areas. I do
Or
have-
even like, I even asked you, do you help people learn how? Because I think you're building, more importantly, you're building a personal brand.
Yeah.
Which in this day and age is very important. As you said, people are coming to you
Yeah.
versus you reaching out, which is, I think is very key when you build this personal brand. Do you do courses like that as well?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
This is your guy. I know a few people who would like need and love your services. I know I've asked you that I want to sign up to one of your courses.
Okay.
But yeah, let's support our local, like intellectual, like
Thank you. I didn't know it was
content
that
creation.
smart.
You're very, you're amazing. Yeah.
Thank you.
But thanks. Anything last?
Yeah, no, this to me this has been great. I always look forward to some enlightening conversations. That when I'm going home or sitting somewhere, I start remembering certain things that you say.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, then I pick up my notebook. I'm like, next time I talk about marketing, I'll use some of
I need some of Mark's stuff.
I'll use some of Mark's stuff. But it's been great for me.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. So thank you for listening. Would love to hear your thoughts. And thanks for hearing. Bye.
Bye-bye.
You, this guy needs you. This guy needs
Huyu
you.
ako sawa vile ana nini?
Anaongea mdomo
Kwanza
tu.
yeye ako na ile kizungu ile ya shule.
5 has good vibes, but 9 to 5 with Ngari has better.